you need to cut them out of your life. It will never end. You keep thinking, okay, they're going to get better now. Like they're growing. This is just a hard season for them. You're always creating excuses for them, and it's time to stop. You need to stop because they are not going to change. This is the people they are. They are not going to change. They will be the same forever, and it will always be your responsibility to fix them. So don't do it anymore. Stop it now, get out of the relationship, and move on. Welcome back to another episode of The Donkey and the Bee with your host, Brett and Laura Chotkevys, where we talk all things marriage, entrepreneurship, and finances.
We do.
And he is not the bee, he's the donkey. And I'm the bee over here.
The jackass.
We got the jackass and the biatch. We are living a life of purpose, and we love talking about all the things that we have achieved and not achieved, I guess. Failed and succeeded. And so we talk about all those things, and we're so glad that you were joining us.
Yeah. So today, we're talking about cutting people out of your life. And we've done it a couple times since we've been married. What are we approaching, 19 years together? Mm-hmm. We had some bad relationships, friend-style relationships, right? We're not talking about like spouses and boyfriend, girlfriend kind of stuff. But there's just been some really good friends in our lives and important people that were there through a lot of time and work relationships and college relationships, stuff like that ended up, starting out good and then went down this rabbit hole, this slippery slope to like these really toxic relationships that were pretty poisonous for a while. And you got to the point where we just cut them out. So I want to talk about it today because it is totally okay to identify toxic relationships in your life and just remove those people, right? Like, we only get one life, right? Let's focus on the good here. And again, there's been plenty of times where you give and you help and you love and you serve. But if this person is truly toxic and it's going on for such a long period of time, you know what? It is okay to remove them from your life and just move on.
So this makes it sound like we're really bad friends, but actually we're really fantastic friends. And I think the few instances where we had to cut people out of our lives was because we're honestly really giving. And so I think that if you come in contact with a toxic friend who knows that, a lot of times they take advantage of that because they know that you're very giving and you're caring and you're kind. And so coming from experience from us, it was very difficult to cut those people out of our life or my life or your life because I kind of felt bad in a way. Like I felt like I was being the jerk. I was being the one that wasn't being giving enough. But to be completely honest with you, it was almost like a psychological way for this person to come in and make you feel like you're the bad person, like you're not helping enough. And it makes you think that, oh, well, I'm supposed to be doing this. When it's in turn, they are the person who needs to take control of their life. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And so I think that was difficult for me because I have that kind heart, but I think that I had to go through those circumstances in order to learn how to approach it a different way next time. If someone were to come in my life that is toxic, I know what to do now.
Yeah. Well, these have been at places in our life when we were younger and in a growth period, specifically like going through college, right? Like a lot of times you have your girlfriends or your guy friends and you're in this young stage and you have a bunch of roommates and everything and you're growing together. And then sometimes people just stop growing, right? Especially after high school, they just feel like they still are in high school. They still act like they're in high school. And we're very driven people and we're growth oriented and we just kept growing, right? We're still always growing. And then you realize like you kind of left that person back there, but they're still very much a part of your life. And then so you try and help and you try and help. And then sometimes it's just like, after years, right? It's just like, it's one problem after another. You are always cleaning up their messes in some kind of way. Or perhaps it was like in business. That was the second time we had, right? We were young to business and so rapidly growing in that kind of space and still just outgrew some of the other people that we were working with. And it really, again, you don't really know because you kind of will start sometimes on the same level. And then as you continue to grow past them, or perhaps you just realize that they're really kind of poisonous. And a lot of these people whether you say they're sociopaths or not, are really good at manipulating you. And man, we got manipulated both these occasions for years. And at least the second time, I was able to identify it a lot quicker, but it was still a very hard circumstance because there was business ties there to exit this person out of our life. So there was definitely circumstances where, you know what, it is just, you got to rip the Band-Aid off. There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of pushback from customers and all sorts of different things. And it is for sure worth it, man. Like, we were living in that muck for a while, and just to rip the Band-Aid off and push past these things, I gotta say, I want to be the person who can identify these things quicker now, know that someone is toxic or poisoning our relationship or our business, and just cut them as soon as I can.
Yeah, it was one of those circumstances where you don't know how bad it is until you're free from it. So, for example, once we did completely cut these people out of our lives, I didn't realize how freeing it was. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I was out of it. And so this is specifically talking about friendships. I know this can be a different feeling if it's an actual like spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend. We're not talking about that specifically. We're just talking about friendships. And so if you're out there listening to this and you know you have a person in your life and you're like, I know exactly what they're talking about. This person in my life is toxic to me. It's always drama. They always need money. There's always something going on and they always pin it on me and it's always my responsibility. I'm going to tell you right now, coming from the back end of it twice, you need to cut them out of your life. It will never end. You keep thinking, okay, they're going to get better now. Like they're growing. This is just a hard season for them. You're always creating excuses for them, and it's time to stop. You need to stop because they are not going to change. This is the people they are. They are not going to change. They will be the same forever, and it will always be your responsibility to fix them. So don't do it anymore. Stop it now. Get out of the relationship and move on, because it's literally an anchor. That's what it felt like. It felt like I had an anchor tied to my ankle in the water, and I was just trying to come up for air and just trying to literally just breathe. And it was so difficult to do that. And so it tore me. There was many times where I was so dark and depressed because of just the life suck that was coming out of my life. Like, it was awful. I wasn't even me anymore. And so once I got those people out of my life, I was able to be myself again and be the person that I want to be. And I felt like I couldn't be because they were in my life. So cut that tie, cut that anchor, and you will feel that weight off your back.
I think it was hard for me to learn to identify these things, because you think like you going into it, you have some type of bond or friendship or business relationship, and you just want to help, right? Most people just want to help someone that's their friend, and you help and help. But then you think like, hey, they're just going through this one hard season, or they just have this one problem, right? They got divorced, or they have a separation, or they got lost their job, right? Like, once they get past this, it's all good.
Yeah.
But then you realize like, okay, you helped them through that problem, or maybe you paid for that problem. And then it's just the next problem. And it's just like, well, this next problem is actually bigger, right? Sometimes people, they just want, well, I don't say they want money, but they just use you. They have a problem with their budget, and you are that person. You always have to bail them out. And we've had that circumstance, and it starts small, and then it gets medium, and then it gets big. And next thing you know, it's like, here's big medical bills. Here's $10,000+ bills. That like, why am I paying for this, right? Like, I just did this for them last month and this 6 months ago, right? Like, those are the people. If you see the pattern, know it is a snowball going down the hill. It will only get bigger and bigger and bigger, because people like this, they're attracted to drama and to negativity, and they will always be the people with bad luck, because they are creating their own luck. They will not succeed on these things, and they will literally drag you down. So it was something that I had to learn the hard way, and I think I'm getting better at identifying it. I hope that at least on the next time if someone's in our lives like that I can identify it pretty rapidly and be like, you gotta go.
We don't have very many friends. We're each other's best friend, and I think like I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, we have a lot of acquaintances, and we have like quote unquote like a friend group, but like I don't think that we've really opened ourselves up to very many people because of the burn we've had in the past. And I don't see that as a sad thing or, oh, that's so sad, you have trauma, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't see it like that. I see it as like, people have their own issues and I don't really want to deal with it. So I would rather have a close-knit group of individuals who I know and trust that they have the best intentions for me and I have the best intentions for them. I want to see my friends succeed. It's not the opposite, right? There can be some sort of competition that's unspoken in friendships that maybe this is just particularly for women, that it's always like, oh, well, look, she's doing this and she's doing this. I need to tear her down. Like, that's such a terrible outlook on friendships. I think when people succeed in life, they want to see other people succeed. So I think that I've succeeded in many areas in life. And so when I see other women succeeding, I get excited about that. And I want to encourage them in that. And so if I have a friend who started a business and like she's doing really great, that's awesome. Like, I want to support you in that and I want to be that cheerleader. Whereas if there's people in life who haven't, quote unquote, succeeded in their life, they make it their like life's mission to pull everybody else down that's around them because they themselves know they haven't done anything in life worth a damn. So if you have those people in your life, you need to cut them. And I may sound very passionate about this is because I am. I've learned my lesson and I know going forward it's not going to happen again because I've learned that you train people in your life how to treat you based on your reactions to things. And so I think now I know if certain people say something or treat me in a certain way, I have to tell them now. I nip in the butt as soon as it happens so that they know you cannot treat me like that. So I think it's just learning those different things in life when you come in contact with people.
Yeah. Well, you're passionate about this because you've had a lot of pain and you've been burned pretty bad. And me watching this from the outside, like I identified it before you were identifying it. And I was really kind of watching you struggle through this thing and coming to grips with, hey, I need to make this decision to cut this person out of my life. And it wasn't an easy decision for you. And I know now, and I saw like as soon as you made the decision and this person was out of our lives, that it was just like this weight, this bondage fell off of you and you became you again and you smiled again and you were laughing and you were the life of the party again, right? But like during that time, like you talk about this anchor, I mean, like you were a different person. You were not the normal Laura. And so I think that's important to say, like the power that people can have in pulling you down is a lot, especially because they're intimately involved in your life, right? If they're a good friend. And you know what? Sometimes it's just time to find a new good friend, right? Like I don't say that lightly, but when they are literally sucking the life out of you, like from experience, you just need to cut them. You need to identify it, cut them, and move on, and you just keep growing, right? A lot of those people, they are not here to grow. They are here to pull your energy towards them, and they just consume your energy. And you need to take your energy and you need to grow and live the life you want to live.
So as we were talking about this topic, one thing that I wanted to mention was how to cut people out of your life, because I think a lot of people talk about it. Oh, you got to cut the toxic relationships. Okay, yes, I get that. But like, how do you actually do that? And as we were talking about it, I was like, well, we've done it a few times in our life, and I feel like we haven't really done it. I don't know how to word this. I guess with class.
Yeah.
And I think after thinking on it, I realized that I couldn't do it with class because the people that we were dealing with, I think mentally weren't on a, how do I word this? They weren't on a...
They were not logical. They're crazy.
Yes, they were not logical. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think they were just a little off mentally. And I think no matter how you cut that relationship, you're always going to seem like the bad guy. So what we did was we just completely cut it. When I say that, meaning you block them on all social medias, you block them on your phone, you don't literally answer any calls or any texts or anything like that. I didn't tell anybody else. It was just, I just cut it myself. And I don't think I would recommend that for like a friend who's like has kind of a normal mindset on things. Because I think if you could talk to somebody being like, hey, I just have a lot going on in my life. I know you do too. I kind of just need to take a little bit of a breather to just get my path straight. I think a normal person would be like, okay, I get that. But someone who maybe isn't have that mental capacity, they're not going to understand that, and they're going to think you're in the wrong. So I think that for us, we just completely cut them. And that may not work for some people, but for us, it's worked. And I felt good about it because I knew that no matter how I worded it to this person, I was going to be the bad guy no matter what.
Yeah. So you might as well just be the bad guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You deal with the fallout. They talk a bunch of crap. They tell everyone a bunch of lies about you.
Yeah.
But your character shows through. I mean, for us, it was a few months of like people talking crap, right? And saying, hey, Laura's this or that or all these different things and whatever. I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to grind. I'm going to do my thing. I know what I'm doing is best for me and my family. And I mean, perhaps there are circumstances where there's a better way to do it, a classier way to do it, like you said. But a lot of times, if you are talking about the extreme here and this person is nuts, there's no logical way to do this. You can't communicate these things. They are seeing on a totally different level than you.
Yeah. I think it's good that you said putting your family first, because if you do have kids and this person is around your kids, I think that, man, that is the number one reason why you should cut this person out, because you don't want anybody to have that negative influence on your kids, especially if they are very manipulative and know how to kind of woo people in with their words. And so if they're around your kids, number one, they need to get out. They need to get out of your life. And so that was another reason why we needed to cut this individual out of our life, because we knew that negative energy, to be honest, negative energy and just negative relationship in general was something that we didn't want our kids to be around.
Well, one of the other things that I thought was interesting is you read this book, The Sociopath Next Door, and then told me about it. So I read it.
Yeah.
And man, like when you learn about the traits on some of these people, sociopaths are very driven and highly accomplished people a lot of times. They are crafty and good at their manipulation.
Really good. Yes, really good.
And and this book was really interesting because it went through like the different types of sociopaths and how they play their games. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this is spot on. Like this person's nuts. Like now I feel like I've always like got my radar out. Like, are you a sociopath? Like, I don't know about you.
They say that 1 in every 25 people are a sociopath. And when you really think about that, if you're in a classroom, college classroom of like 100 people, you got to say that 4 people are a sociopath. That's a lot. And so I think that it's a benefit to be aware that there are people out there that are like this. And so, like you said, you point people out. And I kind of do that too, because you kind of know the characteristics. There's like 10 and under characteristics of these people, and they're all the same. And so being able to now see that and pinpoint it out is definitely a benefit for us going forward with friends.
Yeah.
I can definitely speak from experience in this, because it's happened multiple times in my life that I've had a lot of pain from relationships like this, and I've learned a lot from it. And so coming from the backside of it now, like seeing what I've been through, I would not take it back. I think that I've learned so much through the experience, but now being on the flip side of it, I would encourage people to evaluate those relationships that they have in their life, that maybe every time that person calls you, you get like that like gut feeling when you see that they're calling you, or a text comes in and you get that same feeling. I think that's your body like telling you that, ooh, I think you need to get rid of this person. So speaking from experience, you just need to pull the Band-Aid off. You need to get them out of your life. And you can do it with class, or you cannot do it with class. I think it just depends on the individual. If they are level-headed or not, I think that kind of determines how you can cut that off. But I would encourage you now that if there's someone that you're thinking of currently as I'm talking about this, that person needs to be cut out of your life. And I think that once you do cut them out of your life, it will be so freeing for you. You'll see yourself grow so much more. And not will only affect you, it's going to affect all your relationships around you, with your husband, with your kids, with your neighbors, with your community. It's going to affect everybody. And so cut them out.
Well, thanks for joining us on another episode. So as you know, we don't run any ads on this show. Our only ask is you would help us grow this show by sharing it with somebody. Our goal is to help couples get into financial freedom, to get on the same page with their marriage, to align their finances and hit early retirement. So if you know anybody who is looking to learn more about this topic, please share, and we will see you guys on the next one.